EAGLES, Eagles.
Welcome in, everybody, to a Tuesday nightcap edition of Birds 365, our second to last night show of the offseason, and also the second to last training camp practice for the Philadelphia Eagles. They'll be on the practice field again tomorrow. We're recapping today's practice. Johnny Mac, how you doing on this Tuesday evening, brother?
Doing well. One more to go. That's it. And training camp will be over. Obviously, nothing changes from the standpoint of other than reporters don't get to see the full practice. So a lot changes from an information standpoint. So always a little bit of a sad day when the last day we're going to see a real practice until next spring, the full entire practice. But, monotonous. Training camp gets monotonous. And, the Eagles kind of shut it down today, essentially. Devontae Smith, a lot bigger injury report. And there was a concerning injury in practice we'll talk about. But, the Devontae is just cautionary. And, they're being very conservative in their approach with some of the star players.
Yeah, that's to say the least. John, how much do you speculate the Eagles are holding out until you guys are out of the room?
Quite a bit. But I do think, I presume, Vic pretty much shows it. Vic's been around for so long and so many people copy him. Everybody knows what he's trying to do. So it's not that, from his standpoint, not that big of a deal, but offensively a little bit. But it's not a very complicated offense. So if you watch the Eagles over the past 4 years, you know what's coming, basically offensively.
What about defensively? You think they're throwing a curveball at one of these positions, John, or what?
Personnel wise, perhaps, but I mean, how many? There's no real curveball they can throw that's going to be out of left field. It's Drew McCuba got hurt again today. He's not the serious injury. So it might be back in Sydney's corner, depending how long, and we'll see tomorrow, get a better indication. At corner, I mean, would you be surprised if it's Adoree Jackson or Kaylee Ringo or Jacorian Bennett?
I'd be surprised at this point if it was Keeley.
Yeah, he's probably the biggest surprise, but I don't think it would be out of left field. Nobody's gotten more first-team reps probably over the full summer. They'll probably lose that battle over the last 2 days, but before, he's been in the mix the whole way. And I don't think anybody would be shocked Campbell being the starting linebacker over Trotter, but I don't think too many people should be shocked if Trotter's the starting linebacker over Campbell. So I don't see the big curveball. So maybe you're not getting a curveball that drops off the table. You're getting a shitty curveball that may get knocked into the third deck.
Yeah, right. John, let's get into it. Day number 17 today at practice for the Philadelphia Eagles. 17 out of 18, Johnny Mac. So, guys, this will be our second to last night show ever. I know we get some comments. People want us back in the morning. Believe me, morning is better for everybody involved. So we'll be back to the morning. It's Thursday, and that should be our last time we'll have a night show, basically all season. I think that's when it ends for us officially. So we'll be back to the morning on Thursday. Tomorrow night will be a nightcap again of Birds 365 after the final practice of training camp. John, today, number 17 out of 18 on the field. You just mentioned a couple of things. I think two of the big stories were that McCuba and Johnny Wilson went down with injury, but tough to get a gauge on the offense, John, when as many people sat out as today. But what'd you see down there, day number 17, John?
Yeah, well, predictably, the offense wasn't great. I mean, not only did you have no AJ, no Devontae, we know what happens when that happens, but no Tanner McKee. So you had Kyle McCord getting the second team reps. So Yeah, it wasn't great offensively. And defensively, it's more of the same. Other than, second straight day, Kaylee Ringo's not getting any first team reps. Makuba left early, so Sydney got the vast majority of the first team reps. And Campbell keeps coming. Right now, they're splitting. Now that Zach Bond's back, they're splitting time between Trotter. Trotter got the first rep, but Campbell you can tell he's getting closer and closer. But Trotter's doing nothing wrong. He had a good practice again. So it'll be interesting to see the way Vic goes there. But yeah, a little bit of after saying Nolan wasn't on the right side cross training, he put Nolan on the right side. So that was a little bit interesting. And he had one overload look where Nolan Smith and Jalix Hunt were on the same side rushing, and it worked. So that looked pretty good.
That's interesting.
Now, Jordan Mailata is out with a concussion. He got a concussion yesterday. Obviously, Landon's out. So the left side was Matt Pryor and Brett Toth, and that's where they were rushing from. So you got to take all the stuff with a grain of salt and look at what's on the other side. So, but it did look good when they did it. Nolan had the play of the day, interception in coverage, dropping back on Saquon Barkley. So that was pretty impressive. And Jalix Hunt was part of that as well because he got pressure on Matt Pryor. So he was part of that as well. Offensively, not much. I mean, John Metchi made his debut and they threw him into the pool. He got some first team reps, even handful. Again, a bunch of receivers are out. But you got a handful of first team reps, bunch of second team reps, caught a couple passes, dropped one, but he looks good. He looks better than, their back end receivers. So,
how does he look like in comparison to Dotson?
No, he's not there. He's not. I know Eagles fans don't believe in Dotson.
No, it's not that I don't believe in him. I was just genuinely gauging, if they're trying to make a move there, because I did see the redundancy that you originally pointed out.
Yeah, Dotson was, he was the wide receiver 1 today. Essentially, he had a good practice too. He's had a good camp. Now, if they could trade him for an edge rusher or even another cornerback, people think they should double down. Maybe you have to trade something to get something of value, typically. And maybe they'd feel more comfortable making that type of deal. But as far as pushing him if he's here, I don't think that's going to happen.
What about Darius Cooper? I read today, I think it was Elliott who tweeted out, Darius Cooper is making this team. I don't know what you think of it, but apparently he got some first team reps. Now, AJ was out, Devontae was out, Johnny Wilson got hurt. So a lot of receivers were out.
I know.
Maybe everybody got first team reps.
I love these guys. I love Elliott. But I mean, yes, he got first team reps. Somebody's got to get first team reps.
Well, I think Elliott worded it like it seems like they really go to him too. It's one thing to just line him up.
He does. He made some plays again today. Adoree Jackson, by the way, had his best practice of the summer, I would say. He was good today. I just thought of that because you brought up Darius. He had a pass breakup on Cooper. Cooper's done really well in one-on-ones, and Adoree kind of blanketed him and had a pass breakup. He also was playing well in team drills. But no, Darius is doing well for an undrafted rookie. Don't make no mistake about it. But, especially when Metchi showed up, to me, that's bad news for Anaya Smith and Darius Cooper. So, and hey, I think they were doing fine, both of them. And I don't think the Eagles needed another receiver, but Yeah, he's better than those guys.
Yeah.
I saw him for one day. He's better. Than
Yeah,
those
right. He
guys.
does have talent for sure. Now, Keith brings up an interesting point. He says, I bet Adoree did do good without anyone out there. And say, I don't know, John.
Well, that's part of it
Another one of
too.
those
That's part of it.
catch-22s.
That's part of it too. I mean,
Yeah.
AJ and Devontae are not out there, and even Johnny's not out there. Just Johnny, he might be significantly injured. He had to
What
be
happened
carted.
with him?
He got rolled up on. They were backed up drill running play. He got rolled up on from the back by Brett Toth, and he couldn't put any weight on his left leg. He hobbled sort of off with the trainers, and then they had to cart him inside the NovaCare complex. So hopefully it doesn't end up as bad as it looked, but it didn't look good. But we'll have to see. And that would open up, in a standpoint when you're talking about the Smiths and the Coopers of the world, that would open a roster spot back up if he has to go on injured reserve or anything of that nature. So, but yeah, you never want to see anybody hurt. And like Makuba, he came up lame in individuals, so I'm thinking it's a hamstring or some kind of soft tissue injury.
Yeah. That's what it sounded like from just reading the reporter's tweets about it.
So I'm thinking it's soft tissue, which isn't good, but it's not going to be season ending. Johnny Wilson may have a significant injury. I hope I'm wrong, but he may have a significant injury.
We'll see about that. Josh B checks in. He says, Elliott said Cooper is making the team because he was, quote, talking with Jalen on the side while other players were doing developmental stuff. Well, let me read the tweet. All right. I don't know Elliott, but I do think he does a nice job covering the team. He says, seems like Darius Cooper has made the team. Yes, there are injuries, but he's getting getting a ton of first team reps and getting the ball thrown his way. I thought I saw something too about him talking on the side, but I don't see that right now.
I don't look that he's had a great summer. Jalen will talk to everybody. I don't know if they think Jalen's off limits to us, but he's not off limits to his teammates. He's actually pretty engaging with his teammates. I wouldn't read into it. I don't know if Elliott said that, by the way. I'm just replying to what the commenter said. He's not making the team because Jalen was talking to him on the sideline. But yeah, he's had.
John, you're not buying into the Darius Cooper hype at all.
Well, because I've talked to some people and know that they think he's got a lot of work to do, and they're interested in continue to work with him. I don't know if that means redshirting him. I don't know. Again, when Howie makes these decisions, he makes them based on if he thinks the guy's getting through waivers. And I always use Eli Ricks back 3 years ago. He thought he wouldn't get through waivers, so he kept him.
Right.
If he thinks Darius Cooper can't get through waivers, he will keep him. If he thinks he will get through waivers, he will waive him. That's pretty much the decision. That's
what if Johnny goes to IR? That could really change things?
Well, yeah, that changes things, but I still think he's below Anais Smith as well.
Right.
So, it's a tough numbers game from the standpoint, but it's a great story. I don't see. I don't. Why? I've said he's had a great summer. I said he's a great story. Why do you take it that I don't like Darius Cooper?
I didn't say you don't like him. I said you're not buying into the hype of him making the football team.
Well, no, I'm not.
You don't like him?
Well, I'm not buying into the hype of him talking to Jalen Hurts on the sideline, making the team. That was the comment.
Well, he's done some nice things on the field as well, more than I've seen a lot of other receivers do this summer.
Well, no, he had a great preseason game. Now that's more relevant. I was just speaking specifically to that comment, which I don't know if Elliott said. If Elliott said that, it's silly. Anybody who thinks because he's talking to Jalen Hurts on the sideline that he's made the football team, Jalen Hurts talks to him all the time.
Elliott was definitely confident today that Darius will be making the roster. We'll see what ends up happening. I happen to think Elliott will be right, but we will see about that. Sig Lord checks in, John, and this is what I want to talk about as well in the receiver room. He says, "Will AJ be ready week 1, J-Mac?"
Yes.
You think so?
Yes. He was back out there.
I'm speculating that you've been given new information on AJ Brown because on Sunday when we talked, you were a little bit. Is there something going on?
He had a setback. He looked like he was getting ready, but then he was back out there today, working before practice, running, doing drills. Plus, he's been out there throwing to receivers. He's happy as a lark. Yeah, he's gonna be ready. And I was given some information that but more so because of the people that joined the injury list today, because they knew people would lose their minds. So they're taking a cautious approach.
So what's your confidence level in AJ being out there week 1? Is it should be 10 would be zero concern at all, not even an option for him to miss? 8, 1, where are you on it?
95%. He's out there.
That's high enough to make me feel good. Siglord, thanks for this question, brother. Appreciate you checking in. We'll see about AJ Brown and the rest of the receiving group. John Metchi's first practice today. I know we talked about him briefly, but it is good to see him out. Good to see him out there. He spoke as well after practice. Any key takeaways from him?
Not from the spoken, just his relationship with them. I didn't know he's very close to Jahan Dotson as well, which I did not know. They almost went to high school together in South Jersey. No, it's actually Central Jersey, but his final year he went there. He almost went to Penn State too, which I did.
Yeah, I heard him
know.
say that. Good choice, John, to go to Bama over Penn State.
Yeah, I'm with you. Jeff Kerr would say otherwise, but
Jeff Kerr could fuck off.
The Penn State people. Well, I'm sure the Alabama people are the same way. If I lived in Alabama, I'd probably hate Alabama. I live in Penn State.
If you lived in Alabama, there's not much else. I mean, there's a reason they all love college football. There's not much else down there.
Well, I'm just saying you get annoyed by the cultish-like fan base. Like I'm annoyed by the cultish-like fan base of Penn State. I know for a fact Alabama has the same thing down there. I'm just not around it all the time.
It's definitely a thing down there too.
So if I were down there, I'm just saying I'd probably feel the same way about Alabama. But it was just interesting to me because I didn't know he almost went to Penn State. But no, he looked on the field. He looked pretty good to the point I'm saying to myself, well, Houston must have some damn good receivers.
Yeah.
And they do on paper. But yeah, I mean, they threw him right in there and he looked like he belonged. He's probably the second best receiver on the field today behind Jahan. And he's, it's his first day at practice. So,
he was involved early, right? He got a couple passes from Kyle McCord and also Jalen Hurts connected with him.
Yeah. He I was surprised. Again, AJ wasn't out there. Devontae Johnny got hurt. So, a bunch of the first team guys weren't out there. But I was still surprised because, I mean, Jacorian Bennett he didn't take a first team rep today. Now,
so was it all Adoree today?
Adoree got, I'm trying to think.
Because you said Ringo didn't any either, right? So no Ringo.
No, Ringo. I'm trying to think if Mac got any because Mac mixed in. I didn't see Mac get any. So I'm not taking attendance on every snap because you can't. But
yeah, right.
So I can't say that Mac McWilliams didn't take a few because I saw him out there. But easily 90% or more of the first team reps. And he had a good practice. Now, part of that is who was not out there. but he had a good practice.
Yeah, that's good. Josh B follows up and he says, I got the tweet pulled up, Josh. He sent it to me. He says, that's my bad. It was BLG who highlighted Darius Cooper talking with Jalen while other players did developmental stuff. LOL. I'll read you the exact tweet, John, from BLG.
Well, I love BLG, but nobody's making the goddamn team because they're talking to Jalen Hurts on the sideline.
I love BLG. He's a friend of the show, obviously.
Yeah.
He says, Jalen Hurts and Darius Cooper chatting it up on the sideline late in practice during developmental period. Most undrafted free agents would be participating in this portion, but Cooper's clearly graduated it already, period.
Well, that's more. Yeah. So, that's bad job by the commenter because that's not what BLG said. It's not what ESP said. Yeah, he's graduated past that level. Certainly today, yes. And that's the more important part. And he's way ahead of, the Taylor Morans and the Giles Jackson, the other undrafted guys who are usually on developmental reps. So, yeah. Now, so that's legitimate. He's over talking to the starting quarterback, not in developmental.
Right. So a significant step forward. Doesn't mean he's guaranteed makes the team, but he's definitely in the conversation, though. It's not like he's definitely going to.
Oh no, he's definitely in the conversation. Okay. But that's what I'm saying. If AJ was practicing, if Devontae was practicing, if Johnny was practicing, he might be in those reps.
Yeah, right. No more conversations with Jalen. Darius, get to the developmental table. Josh, thanks for the super chat, brother. Appreciate you checking in. Good stuff there on the receiving core. John, let's go over to the defensive side of the ball today in practice. Corner. You just mentioned Adoree Jackson lined up basically most of the reps today. All right. So BLG did write today, John, that Jakorian did get in with the first team rep. Now, I don't know if you just missed that again. You only have one set of eyeballs. I don't think everybody.
Yeah, I could have missed it. I didn't see it. Yeah.
But it does sound like no Ringo again at first team rep. Could that be where the curveball comes, John, with Fangio? Maybe after you guys get out of the room, maybe it's not as locked in on Adoree as he's kind of making it seem here late in camp.
Yeah, I mean, I think Jakorian Bennett's going to be the starter. Now, if that happens in week 1, potentially not. But I think early in the season, he's going to be the starter at some point, I think, for 2 reasons. 1, he's got a better feel for the defense. And 2, Adoree's probably not going to play that well when he's out there, if he is out there. So, I think you're going to see the shift. Again, people get hyper-focused on week 1. It might not be week 1, but I'm not really hyper-focused as much on that. I think he's going to be the starting corner. And I don't necessarily think because he's done anything that has wowed me. He had a nice pass breakup in the preseason game. He's clearly very athletic. But, Ringo's played very poorly, and Adoree seems like a guy that Bick is not enthralled with, let's say. So you got to play somebody, and to me, that's Jakorian Bennett. You're not playing Eli Ricks.
Do you think Keely Ringo's in danger of not making this roster?
No. Because he's such a good special teams player. And he was out there today. So first team gunner. He's first team everywhere on special teams. So now I could see them trading him. But he's not getting cut. That's not happening. He's on the final. He's cheap. He's still inexpensive.
Yeah.
He's got, 2 years on his rookie deal.
Yeah.
They're not cutting him.
I just wondered if at this point, if not, probably not cut. I agree with that, but I don't know. Maybe they look at him and say, if there's any value left, let's get it now. Change of scenery is needed for the player. Probably not working out here in Philly. Just kind of one of those deals. I didn't know if that was probably coming.
Well, if they could get something for him, I could see a trade. Yes, I could see a trade.
What would they get for him? A Can't be
and they'll
much.
make
Six
do.
rounder?
Well, again, no, not a draft pick, a player. If there's a player for player trade, for a guy similar to what happened twice,
Why do you say no to a draft pick like that? Was a crazy comment by me.
because they have 13 draft picks. They don't need more draft picks. And certainly day 3 picks. In fact, they're going to use the draft picks they do have to try to get players.
Well, maybe that's what they'll do. Maybe they'll package one of those picks with Ringo and go and grab somebody.
Well, yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. I mean, but it would be essentially player for player. Yeah, they might like they traded Metchi for Harrison Bryant, but they also traded draft positioning.
Right.
So yeah, it might be that use one of the picks to get it over the top. So yeah, I think he could be moved, but I'm just saying there's no way he's getting cut. 0% chance he's getting cut.
We'll see what happens with Keely Ringo. I do think the confidence for that player is probably really shaken up right now. A couple of you guys wrote about that. You mentioned you saw some stuff in the body language in yesterday's practice. Not sure if you saw any of that today, but we'll continue to monitor that situation. With all the reps, though, John, you still do think Jacorian Bennett wins that job, or at least at some point gets to that job. I'm now thinking it's probably going to be a Dory. At least in week 1, it will be. I'm not sure though.
Yeah, I'm not talking about week 1. I'm talking about long term.
Right.
I know everybody else talks about week 1, but that factors in.
Well, when you say long term, you mean the season, not
the season. Yes.
Not legitimately. Yeah.
Yes, the season. That's the way I think it. Now, Bick's a little bit harder on, guys got to know the scheme and so it might take him some time. But yeah, he's they traded for him for a reason. He's got some talent. The other guy shit the bed, and I don't think they wanted Dory Jackson to be the starter. So ultimately, I think he's going to be out there. Doesn't mean he's going to be successful. It's not based on how he's playing in practice or he's playing better. Or Dory Jackson played better today, certainly. I just think that's where they're going to end up.
John, moving into the safety battle. All right. Makuba goes down again. I like this player, John, but I'm worried about him in a 17 to 20 game season playing at that position. I think this is obviously another significant hit in him probably being the first team guy. Maybe it's short term. Maybe he's back tomorrow. But I don't know. I don't like reading, he's holding on to the hamstring and then he can't get back into practice. So it makes me feel like it's going to linger a little bit. Your thoughts on that battle as it continues to develop here in camp?
Yeah, well, I don't think he's going to be back tomorrow. I'll tell you that. I mean,
how much more time can he miss and still have a chance to be the starter come week 1? Not much, right?
Well, they have what are we 12, 16 days away. They have 16 days. The Eagles are being conservative on purpose. Now, with star players, we're talking AJ, Devontae, Dallas Goedert, etc. They're being cautious on purpose. Will they put him in that category of, well, we just want him on the field? Maybe, because, he's the guy they want on the field. I don't agree with it, but maybe. But I mean, yeah, at a certain point now, in a lot of ways, I'm not as worried if it's a hamstring because, I mean, fast guys, they tweak their hamstrings. It's part of it. It's not like, to me, that's not a shoulder injury.
Right. I get what you're saying with it. Yeah.
So I'm not as concerned from that perspective. But yeah, I mean, there's something to playing. I said about young players. One thing I've seen about young quarterbacks, man, they always get hurt. And I'm not talking about torn ACLs where you're obviously hurt. I'm saying, well, they can't get through because they tweak their hamstring or they do this or they do that. And then you got the Brett Favre's of the world and the Kirk Cousins of the world who play forever, and just grit through everything. I do think there's something to that, because those guys are not healthy. Watch Quarterback on Netflix. Those guys are not healthy. None of them. This year it's Burrow. They followed Burrow. He's a whack job, by the way, if you watch Quarterback.
I didn't watch it. What are you referring to, though? I'm curious to hear.
Man. Well, he's anyway, but so
it's like a cliffhanger. I got to go watch Quarterback.
They followed Burrow, Jared Goff, and Kirk Cousins. And one thing I've learned from watching that show is they just take a beating. I mean, a beating. And they're always out there. Kirk tore his Achilles a year prior, but he had played 7 or 8 straight years. Jared Goff is always out there. And they take a beating. And he's got a great offensive line. And they still take a beating.
Yeah, right.
And Joe, he's got a shitty offensive line. And
why'd you say he's a psycho? Anything specific? Or
I'm
what?
not a psycho. Did I say psycho? He's a mama's boy, and he's very into fashion to a weird point, which is, I don't know, doesn't come off very quarterbackish. Now, Jalen Hurts is very into fashion, so.
Yeah, but Jalen's a little different about it than Joe Burrow. I feel like Jalen's that, he wants to be that, that style, elegant style. I feel like Joe Burrow, I don't know. I thought he had a quote when he came out of college. I have no idea what to wear. Jamar Chase tells me what to wear.
He said early in his life, his mom would tell him what to wear. But now he's got a stylist.
You can always tell somebody that's dressed by their mother.
Watch the show. Watch the show. He's a very interesting person. Very eclectic. Hell of a player, but kind of a weirdo.
Kind of a weirdo. Love it. Johnny Mac, good stuff. We'll have to tune into that to see Joe Burrow's level of weirdness. John, let's keep rolling along. You went to the position battle with linebackers, John. Jahad Campbell is coming up the pike, John. How close are we for him taking over that first team?
Very close. I'm probably pushing back more than most because I just don't like the fit. Because I want Zach playing that position. And I think he got time to work with Jahad, but he's so gifted. Ultimately, they're going to put him on the field. And there's going to be some growing pains, but that's okay. He's going to make some mistakes, and people will probably get upset. But he's so gifted; he'll overcome it. Trotter's just been good, man. Just been good. Different kind of good.
Right. Doesn't have the athletic upside, right? The speed, the strength.
Yeah.
Stuff.
But he's always in the right place. He had a great practice today, too, Trotter. Stopping, swing routes, stopping Saquon in the hole. That's, classic linebacker stuff. Not splashy, but very instinctive. Just a very good player.
Kind of an unfortunate circumstance for him, considering. I mean, I don't know. You hear Ringo's getting beat or losing his job, but it doesn't sound like he's doing a lot to win it. It sounds like Trotter's kind of done everything that's been asked of him, but just the circumstances going to dictate might not be on the field.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if they didn't draft Jahad and they drafted, somebody else, offensive lineman, whatever, everybody would be thrilled with him right now, Trotter. They'd be thrilled with him. But Jahad's here. And
let me ask you a question, and I don't want people to freak out because I know people are going to freak out. I can already hear it. Do you think the Eagles regret any of their linebacker moves in the last year? Paying Bond, drafting Campbell, drafting Munden and Trotter. Because it feels like now they got a lot of guys.
No, because I don't, no, I don't think so.
I don't either. I was just asking you if Howie's like, yeah, we have Jahad Campbell and Nakobe Dean's coming back and Trotter looks pretty good. I don't know. I was just throwing it out there. of maybe
No,
maybe we're
I
thinking
don't,
about roster building.
I think the idea was, you put Trotter and Munden together and you say maybe one of them turns into a player. Those are day 3 picks. Um, and you have Vaughn's an all pro. You're not worried about paying him. And Campbell's, they envision him as more of a hybrid, so a different style of player. And I think ultimately will be a different style. They put him on the edge today, you know, like they did early with Zach last season. So they just split fronts. They go from, 40 to 50. They put the linebacker on the front to screw with the offense. And they did that with Jihad today. And yeah, I don't think they've had a player like Jihad. I often say that for a long time, but I actually that's a mistake because they had it last year with Zach before Jacoby
Right.
got hurt. So they're very similar players. I remember Zach got asked that question earlier in camp, and he said, "Well, this was before or very early because it was before he got hurt. So it was the first day or two of camp." And Campbell hadn't done anything basically throughout the spring. And somebody asked him that question. A lot of people say you guys are similar. And he was like, well, I don't know because I haven't seen him play at the time. Zach tends to be very honest. But they are, now that you've seen him play, they're very similar players. So very similar players. I think Zach is more instinctive. You can say, well, he's the veteran, but he really never played.
I know. It's a different type of veteran.
Yeah.
A 1-year veteran kind of.
And that's what Vic saw in him when he just said, wow, when he thought about it, he said, this guy's just instinctive. That was the number one reason he thought he can do it. And some guys are just very instinctive. And he is. I'm not sure, but just traits wise, they're very similar. Now, Jihad is probably even better as an athlete, just as a pure athlete. So it goes back and forth, but he's, they're in good shape at linebacker.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what I meant. A lot of redundancy, not redundancy, but 2 players that have that type of upside. I wasn't sure if Howie was thinking. I don't know. I'm just I'm so curious, John, how the next year is going to play out because it doesn't feel like they want to pay defense, but they got so many guys to pay on defense. Like who's going to pay? Who are they going to pay? There's only one guy I know for sure they're going to pay next year. It's Jaylen Carter. And then I think Quinion and Cooper are locks too when they come up. But who knows about Nolan? Who knows about Moro Jomo? Who knows about some of these other guys? It's going to be interesting to see what they do. John, let's keep rolling on practice today. Quarterback 3, we get a little bit of an update, huh, John? No Tanner McKee today. He has like a finger injury, I believe.
Non-surgical.
Non-surgical. What is that supposed to mean? He broke his finger, doesn't need surgery?
Yes. I was very adamantly told non-surgical.
Everybody was because you said it. Someone else tweeted it out. A couple other articles I read all had it in there. Non-surgical.
Non-surgical. They don't want people to panic. I don't know why you'd panic over the backup quarterback, but people panic.
Hey, after what I saw from QB3, we need Tanner McKee. We lose him, man.
I agree with that, but obviously, your hope is you don't have to see Tanner McKee play.
Exactly.
I mean, that's the hope, or it should be the hope. But yeah, so that part of it's good. And yeah, I mean, you might have called the QB3 race today. The Eagles probably didn't want to, but Kyle McCord got all the second team reps. So maybe they show up tomorrow and Dorian gets them and maybe we're back on. But I always thought they were going to keep McCord even if Thompson Robinson outplayed him. And it looks like that's going to be the case. But we do have to wait and see what happens tomorrow because if they do switch it and Dorian gets all the second team reps, maybe I'm jumping the gun. Guess it's a possibility, but to me, you would have at least, split the reps today, but you can split days, so you can do it a lot of different ways. But even if they do that, I think they're keeping Kyle McCord.
Yeah,
I just do.
yeah. I agree. John, I'm going to give you some names that maybe haven't been top of the conversation all throughout training camp here. And I just want you to give me what you've seen from them, and how you're feeling on them after 17 days of camp so far. Jordan Davis, John, we talked a lot about him early when he got to camp based on the body, some of the weight loss and things of that nature, but haven't heard much about him since. How's he look through training camp?
Well, he's in very good shape. I think he's prepared to play more. But I think I think he's in the same position. I think they look at Moro Ajomo as the 3-down guy and Jalen as the 2-down guy, as the run stuffer early. Which, by the way, I think they should. I've been saying, I don't know why. How many times have I said it on this show, Zander? Other than he was the 13th pick in the draft, which none of the fans took him, so I don't know why it's so imperative. Other than that, I don't know why anybody would want him on the field on third downs, because that means Carter's not on the field or Jomo's not on the field. Doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't make sense to the Eagles either. So very good player in his role.
Then what are they waiting for? Like, why didn't they sign him? Like they waited to the last second to pick up the 5th-year option. There's something there that the Eagles are looking for.
Well, they wanted him to lose weight, and he did. That's why they didn't pick it. That's why they were.
Okay, so is that it? You think? Are they going to be ready to pay him? You think with the role he has?
Oh no, that's totally different conversation.
Okay,
because he's going to get paid a lot of money, and they have to pay Jaylen Carter a lot of money. And if Moro Ajomo turns into the player that people think he's going to turn into, again, a little bit down the road, they're going to have to pay him money, and they might not even be able to do that.
Because he might do the same thing Milton did, John.
Yes.
He might bet on himself.
Yes. So,
but if they've talked about both these players, and it sounds like they're more optimistic that Ajomo will be the 3-down player in the long term, doesn't that make it easier to pay Ajomo over Davis? Still a hard thing to do with Carter next.
Well, yeah, it makes it easier to pay significant money, but it may not be possible to pay, and Jordan.
Yeah, but I'm talking specifically in comparison to Jordan Davis.
Well, it also depends. Like, they don't have, I feel like I've been explaining this since the day Jordan Davis has gotten drafted.
Right. They don't have a replacement for him.
They don't have a replacement. They don't have a backup. They can't even find a backup. They keep trying to find a backup. It is not easy to find those types of players. And Vic needs that type of player to play his defense. And Jonathan needed it. And he didn't have it his first year. And he was playing Javon Hargrave out of position, who's a very good player, but he's not a nose tackle. So you got to find another nose tackle.
And there's not really a world where Ajomo could be that, even if they're saying, though, he could be a 3-down guy. It's a different type of 3-down guy.
No. Jaylen Carter would have to be the nose tackle. And he could probably do it, but you don't want to waste it.
No, you don't want him to be that.
No, Moro Ajomo, not in a million years could he be a nose tackle.
Well, I think the only reason I asked that is because I think people get confused if you say, because Clint, I think it was Clint Hurd who said Moro is on his way to being a 3-down player.
Yeah, but he's talking about,
he can play the run.
Well, yeah, but he's talking
about, it's different than a nose, which
he's talking about playing the run as a 3 technique or a 2, even a 2-eye, but he's not playing nose or shade. Again, he can line up. Anybody can line up anywhere.
Yeah, right. Just might not work out.
Yeah. Can he do it effectively? And he's too light. I mean, there's a reason nose tackles are big, monstrous guys who usually have big asses and big anchors. And Jordan's a little weird because he's so tall, but he's so big. Yeah, there's a reason, because they got to take up 2 blocks and they got to They got to hold their ground against very strong people. And three techniques, you know, it's like Aaron Donald, who might be the greatest three technique to ever live. Nobody's asking him to play nose tackle. I mean, it's not an insult to Moro Ajomo, just like it's not an insult to Jordan Davis, or it shouldn't be.
Right.
That you know, and he'll play three technique. Jordan Davis will play a lot of three technique this year, but is he going to do it like Moro Ajomo? No. Absolutely not.
I think Jordan's going to have a good year. I was just curious to see what that looks like and what capacity they do use him in. We'll see. John, next player I want to ask you about, Cooper DeJean. John, heard a little bit more about him than I heard about Jordan with the way they're moving him around. But on the field, John, still looking pretty damn good. No concern about a second year, maybe a sophomore slump for him, are you?
No. Cooper's going to be in the conversation to be the best pure football player on the Philadelphia Eagles. He can do everything. He can play outside corner. He can play slot corner. He can play safety. He's the backup holder. He's their best punt returner.
Coop! This dude's a beast. I love him.
He can do everything. Everything. At a high level.
They posted a picture of him up today holding the ball like he was a quarterback. I was cracking up at it.
He was at Raw last night, Monday Night Raw, with the Lombardi Trophy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that in Philly last night?
Yeah. Yeah. He
Did
can
you
do
go?
everything.
No, we were on this damn show.
I'm too busy. I can't. I got asked to go, but I couldn't. Which I hate when I like to go, but I couldn't.
Yeah,
I have too much.
I know you enjoy this.
Yeah. I have too much to do this time of year, but I did get to meet Trick Williams yesterday. He was at practice, and Nikki Bella was at practice. I did not see Nikki, which is disappointing, but I did see Trick. Trick Williams tried out for the. I told this story on the show. He tried out for. He was a wide receiver coming out of South Carolina. He was a rookie tryout camp. His real name is Matrick. That's why he's Trick. Belton. He's a wide receiver from South Carolina. So, you know, he's going to be a big star in wrestling. I mean, a big star. So he was there today again. He's sort of like a pseudo Eagle because he tried out for the team. And, so, yeah, they were in town. They're in town tonight. NXT is at the Metchi in Philadelphia. So
there you go.
For people that want to go down there. There you go. There's your plug, Chris Legentiel. Close circuit.
Good stuff with John. Speaking of Cooper, where do you believe his highest value is for this team? How should Vic use him this year? Because I just heard you rave about. I mean, this guy can play everything. He's going to be in the conversation as one of the Eagles' best players. All right, well, why not outside? Is there a reason? You know, I understand that, but just for the sake of the conversation and the explanation, where do you think his biggest value to this defense is?
Well, I think his biggest value is the slot because they don't have another slot corner. And by that, I mean, you know,
they also don't have another corner.
Yeah, they're much better at outside corner than slot behind Cooper. Much better.
So you feel better about a Dory or Jakorian outside than you would about McWilliams or whoever else you would feel inside?
Yes. Significantly better. You know, that's why you don't want Cooper getting hurt. But even long-term safety more than outside corner, because I think you get more an impact on the game. Now, the problem is he's not going to make as much money playing safety, so I don't know how that comes into it if he's playing outside corner. So, you know, the business often gets in the way. But if it's up to Vic doesn't care about the business, so he's going to play him where he wants to. And, you know, 90% of the time it's going to be in the slot. The other 10% it's going to be in the base as a safety. But he can play outside corner. And if everybody plays poorly, yeah, he might throw him out there at some point. But I think it's a bad sign that Mac McWilliams has gone back outside because they think he's a better outside corner than And that makes sense. He was an outside corner in college. But obviously, because of his size deficiencies, they wanted to try him inside. But now he's back strictly on the outside. Their number 2 slot corner was Brandon Johnson, who is an undrafted free agent from Oregon, and he's hurt now. And he didn't play well against Cleveland before he got hurt. He was getting beat pretty significant. He was getting first team reps because Cooper wasn't playing. He was the guy getting the first team reps, and he did not play well. Perry Nickerson's here, and he's a veteran, but he's more of a good blocker room guy, that type of thing. They're very light at slot cornerback, so Cooper better not get hurt.
No doubt. John, a couple more players I want to ask you about, then we'll get to some super chats, close it up, get into hour number 2 here of Birds 365. Jaylen Carter, John, this is a guy that we've all have very high expectations. It's almost become like we don't think anything other than that he's going to dominate. There's zero doubt in anybody's mind, it feels like, about Jaylen Carter. What have you seen from him this summer? And have you seen him take a next step toward getting to that elite first team all-pro level at that spot?
I have not. I'm going to piss people off. I don't think he's had a great camp. I think he's a little bit maybe listening to all that, what you just said. I don't know. I don't think he's had a great camp. But I have no worries he's going to be a great player. Right. I just have the worries he's going to reach his ceiling, which is first team all pro level. Like, he's so gifted. He's going to be good, but he could be great. Like, greatness you haven't seen before. Greatness. And I don't see that right now.
Why do you speculate it's because he's reading headlines? Is that just a speculation?
Oh, that's complete speculation. I don't know. He just hasn't. Morrow's looked better on the inside. Now, he missed a bunch of practices at the beginning of camp. He's probably not in the best shape right now. Still working his way back from that. Yeah. I mean, it hasn't been a great camp for him. Again, for him. He's better than everybody else. But
yeah, his talent. He's always going to have a good year. You're saying that ceiling could be blown off the top. Is how good of a player he really is.
Like Quignon's had a great summer. Great summer. Jalen's just been, for him, just, I don't want to say pedestrian because it's not pedestrian, but for him, pedestrian.
No concern, though, right?
No, other than, is he going to be Pro Bowl or All Pro? Right now he's going to be Pro Bowl.
Right. Which is a pretty good floor, but I hear what you're saying in terms of good, not or great, not good. Fat checks in. He says he can't be Carter in camp. Any truth to that, John? Can't really play like Jaylen Carter does in training camp.
Well, that's partially true, but Morrow's done it, so I mean, you see people do it.
Carter's a mean player, man. He plays with a mean.
Yeah, he got mean with Cam Jurgens yesterday, but Cam knocked him on his ass. That's why he got mean. Cam shouldn't be knocking him on his ass. Cam's a good player, but
beef jerky knocking Jaylen Carter. I like that. It's a little bit of football. That's a little football action. All right, there. Good stuff on Jaylen Carter. John, 2 more names I want to rattle off. Then we'll get to the super chats for you guys. Number 1 is Reed Blankenship. Haven't heard much on him in camp. I think everybody's so focused on
Steady Eddie, man. That's why.
That's why. All right. That's what I was hoping.
Never makes a mistake. Always where he's supposed to be. Steady Eddie, Reed Blankenship.
So no concern on any regression there.
No.
Any evolving thoughts on that contract situation?
No, same as before. He might want to bet on himself. I always say these things are two-way streets. Yeah. I'm sure the Eagles are trying to lowball him. And he
what
might
do you think
say
the lowball is? 3 years, $27 million, $9 million a year?
Yeah, 8, 9. Like I always say, if I'm him, I'm starting at 15, and I'm Milton Williams this thing.
Where's the honest number, though? What's he worth, John, in your eyes?
Well, Cam Bynum made $15 million. He's better than Cam Bynum. Like, if I'm his agent.
Right. You're not accepting less than what Cam Bynum's making.
Yeah. Not even close. I mean,
Cam Bynum.
Same age, fourth year, it's probably 26. I don't have it. He came off his rookie contract. He's a good player. He's a playmaker. He makes a lot of interceptions, and that's why he got the money he did. But overall, and Reed's gotten a decent amount of interceptions. He's 27, coming off his rookie deal. He got $15 million a year from Indianapolis. Reed's better. And by the way, he's not like Cam wasn't like a first round pick. He was fourth round pick. But still, even a fourth round pick compared to an undrafted they're always trying to lowball the poor undrafted free agents. Like, Reed has proven himself. All right. I know he's an undrafted free agent. I don't know why people didn't pick him, but they screwed it up.
We could barely replace Gardner Johnson. We better play Reed for that reason. We better pay him for that reason alone. We're going to be toast back there if we don't have him.
Now, I'm sure Howie says, well, they overpaid Camp on him, and they probably did. So I get it from his standpoint
that's
as
the business.
well.
I mean, that's that. You can make a case everybody's overpaid, for crying out loud. I mean, they set the market, and the market becomes the market.
Exactly.
Overpay one day, underpay.
And by the way, we all get, and I fall prey to this as well. You know, all these contract numbers are ridiculous. They're worthless. So I just looked up his contract. 4 years, $60 million, which is not the important part. The important part is $30 million guaranteed, 26 guaranteed upon signing. That's the important number. So if I'm Reed Blankenship, I'm asking for 31 fully guaranteed.
Fully guaranteed, right?
And that's where I'm starting. And if the Eagles don't want to pay that, I would bet on myself if I were.
And what are you thinking? 3 years with Reed?
3 or 4, yeah. I mean,
so draft me a deal. 3 year, $40 million with 31 guaranteed. Does that get the deal done? Is that
well,
is that...
60 million is getting you 30 guaranteed. So you probably have to budget up to 4 years and 60-ish, but 31 million guaranteed, which is the more important number.
Well, guaranteed. If I'm taking, I mean, I'll take less of an average annual if more of it's guaranteed, and it all equals the same number, for crying out loud.
Well, the Eagles, how they do it, they're just going to put dummy years on the back end, so they're not concerned about. The reality is, it'll be a 2-year contract, and it could be revisited after the 2 years.
Right,
but you got to get 31 million over 2 years, which is $15.5 million a year. The real money, not the fake money. And the fake money can be the fake money, whatever that looks like.
Yeah,
who cares?
that doesn't matter as much. All right, John, good stuff on Reed. Last name I want to ask you about, Dallas Goedert. John, how's his camp been? What kind of impact do you expect in this year?
Oh, he's had a great camp. I don't know. Hey, he's got to stay healthy. He's got to play 17 games. Great player. You saw in the playoffs. Really impactful. But the Eagles are not a high volume throwing team. So I don't like this question. I'm not blaming you, but he's got to catch 80 balls. He's not going to catch 80 balls. He's in this fucking offense. You know.
Do you hate this offense, John?
No, I hate how people view this offense. Like, they want all these numbers in the passing game. You're not going to get them. What do you want? So I asked the fans, what do you want? Do you want numbers in the passing game, or do you want to win? They've proven they could win the way they play, and they're going to play the way they play.
Right. And
that's going to limit the numbers of people like Dallas Goedert and Jahan Dotson specifically. So anybody who asks me, is Jahan Dotson going to catch 50 balls or Dallas Goedert going to catch 80 balls? Probably no. Not unless somebody gets hurt and they have to throw the ball all over the lot, and you're not going to like that. So can Dallas catch 80 balls? Sure. He's good enough to do it. He's good enough to catch more than that. Is John Dotson good enough to catch 50 balls as the third receiver? Catch 60 or 70 on Cincinnati.
Right.
Not here.
He's got some extra motivation this year too, because he's probably going into one of the last years where he's going to have a chance at a big contract. No, I know we only got the 1-year deal to come back here, but
yeah, I mean, well, Dallas unfortunately is over 30, and 30's a dirty word in the NFL. So I don't think there's any 4-year deals coming, but he could get significant money on 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, look, Zach Ertz just got signed. I think Dallas has a long shelf life left if he wants it, if he's able to stay healthy and seize it. Not saying he's going to get a 4-year massive deal, but I think he has a chance.
Yeah, but Zach Ertz is in a different phase. Yes, he's a good player. He keeps getting signed, but he keeps getting signed for 1-year deals that much less than he was.
Like what though? Like Ertz got, I thought he got like $7 million. Goddard's making 10. I feel like Goddard's worth more than that.
Well, he is. He should have been making 14, and he decided to come back. But I think he might have. I think he made a prudent decision because, what is it? If you go to New Orleans with Kellen Moore and you're the best player and you catch 85 balls, but you win 4 games, that's not going to help you. So I think he made a prudent decision to come back, and, probably after this year, he'll get a 2-year deal somewhere else would be my, probably pretty significant 2-year deal if he plays the whole season. And then from that point, he'll be probably year to year because of his age. It's a brutal industry. Think about, I was just writing about this. So think about, we were talking about Darius Cooper. So you're having a great summer as an undrafted player. You've made it all the way from camp, rookie camp, to mini camp, to OTAs, mini camp, training camp. You put yourself in a conversation where you're getting first team reps with Jalen Hurts on the 17th practice of training camp. You're talking on the sidelines with Jalen Hurts. You put yourself in that position because of your work throughout the summer. And then Anaya Smith, you put yourself in a position, all the coaches are praising you, how much improvement you've made, blah, blah, blah. You put yourself in a position. Johnny Wilson to a lesser extent, and he got hurt today. And then all of a sudden, on August 19th, John Metchi shows up. And it was interesting because one of CJ's talks on whatever he goes on, what's that called? The video game thing he's always on.
Twitch,
thank you. Well, on one of his Twitch, streams, whatever. He talked about when he first got here. He got here on August, I believe, 30th. The cutdown was the cutdown day. And when he got in the building, he was telling the story. Nobody liked him because all the safeties were there all summer working their asses off. And this guy comes in and cuts the line.
right?
And he's also a bit of a, hard to take, but he was like, nobody liked me. That's the NFL, man. You work your ass off as an undrafted free agent from Tarleton State.
Right.
And everybody's talking you up, and you're having all the success. And all of a sudden, here comes the kid from Alabama.
Yeah, right.
Who knows
or a 5-star recruit.
Who knows Devontae and knows Jahan and knows Jalen. It's a tough life, man.
Yeah,
Those back end of the roster guys, it's a tough life.
It could be worse, no doubt. Johnny Mac, good stuff. Great opening segment here. Recapping day number 17 of Eagles practice at training camp today. Team's coming along nicely. John Metchi's first day on the field, and still a lot of questions after after 17 practices. Let's go to our super chats here. Got a couple already, and we'll read through the last few we have here before our commercial break. Carson checks in. What's up, Carson? He says, J-Mac, what do you think our record will be?
Well, I already made my prediction, which was 11, but going up to 12. I think they're more of a 12-win team now, which is pretty good. They're a good team, matter of how good. But I do sense a lot of panic because of the way things have looked, and the Browns weak, and but so many guys are out. They're being cautious. When their star players are on the field, they're going to beat the brakes off people. Can they stay healthy? They've had a good run of health, and if the wrong guys get injured, then you might have some problems. But if everybody is out there, they're going to be tough to beat.
Do you think the health success, for lack of a better word, that they've had the last 3 years is more about their philosophy or about luck?
I think it's both, but I think luck's a big part of it.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean,
but they have made a concerted effort. I mean, they do things differently. Like even just watching the preseason, John, Joe Burrow's playing, Matt Mahomes is playing, Jaden Daniels is playing. There's a lot of guys that are actually playing in the preseason. The Eagles don't have that philosophy. It's worked out for them.
No, and look, it's very difficult to get hurt when you're not playing. So I agree with their preseason philosophy. Like, I think, and Andy's the first Battle Hall of Famer. He's an old school guy, and he wants guys to play, and I disagree with him. I disagree with, but you saw some of the highlights of Joe Burrow almost getting killed. It's insane to me. Why does that guy need preseason game reps? And the way the NFL has gone about this, and to make it less meaningful than ever. Yeah, I mean, I can say the two things are not mutually exclusive. Andy is a Hall of Fame coach, and he's making a big mistake by playing any starters in the preseason. It is a waste of effing time. A waste of time.
Well, I mean, you could make the argument in a more competitive AFC. Every game, they have to win every game. They can't afford to have a 1-3 bye week or 1-3 preseason game in September.
Waste of time.
I appreciate you sticking to the guns, John. Carson, thanks for the super chat, brother. Trenton Wright checks in. He says, I have full trust in Hurts, Howie, Vic, and Nick. All right, Trenton. I think all of you guys.
It's okay. It's okay to question people. It's okay. It's not going to hurt.
It is. Even my boy Prince. Prince, I'm upset with you. Here's what Prince said a little bit ago. Let me find it. He says, where is fucking this comment? He says, we're going to spend another season crying about this team instead of enjoying the process. I watched you all cry last season about everything. Do you trust your team or not? Well, Prince, listen, I love you.
Hey, it's not my team, Prince.
He's talking to the chat. He's not talking to us. He's talking to everybody in the chat. But this is what I'd say to Prince. And I love the Eagles, and I feel confident in them too, Prince. But 57 out of 59 seasons that ended in a Super Bowl winner, we did not win. That's not a very good hit rate, Prince. I mean, I don't know why you're acting like everything is always going to work out and anybody questioning them is messed up. I mean, come on, man. We have 2 wins.
Yeah, it's insane that you can't. And nobody's perfect. Everybody's got stuff to work on. Even when you're the best, and the Eagles were the best team, they weren't perfect last year. And they acknowledged they had to work on stuff. And that's how you get to be great. To keep striving, Jalen talks about it all the time. Keep striving for perfection. You can't get there. You strive for it. Nobody can get there. I've asked Nick Sirianni a ton of difficult questions over the years, and Vic now, and Kevin Patullo even this year. And they all shake my hand, and they're big boys. They don't care. They know what their jobs are. And there's nothing wrong I think Vic Fangio is the best defensive coordinator in the NFL. I think anybody who watches that show knows my belief. There's also a ton of shit I wouldn't do that he does. He's probably right. I'm probably wrong. I can acknowledge that, but there's some things I look at and go, yeah, I wouldn't do that. He's a human being. Makes mistakes like everybody else.
Yep, I agree. Prince, appreciate it. Let's go to our next super. Dank says, Nikki in a Kelly Green Eagles black. I guess there was some wrestler rocking some Eagles merch last night or something, John.
Nikki Bella. Yeah, she's a big Eagles fan. Her and her sister are.
Is that who you said you missed her down at the
yeah.
Yeah.
Dom told me she was there. I didn't see her. She was probably inside. Because Trick Williams was there. He came outside, but he came back today and immediately went inside. So Nikki was probably inside, I think. But Dom told me she was there. She's always been a big Eagles fan. Her and her sister. And she's fetching. So I was looking forward to seeing Nikki, but I didn't see her. Oh, well.
No can do. Dang, good stuff. Appreciate
I've met her in the past, though. So
here's Brian. He says, J Mac attack. Your knowledge of the game is unmatched. I randomly picked a team. How many Super Bowl championships does the Minnesota Vikings
randomly picked a team? They have 0, Pumper. They have lost 4. They and the Buffalo Bills are the only teams to lose 4. And they haven't been there since, I think 1978. It's been a while. They always go to the playoffs, but they never get over the hump. So there's your Minnesota Vikings lessons. But I don't know why I used to cover the team, Pumper. So you ask me questions about the Eagles. I know a lot about the Eagles. I know a lot about the Vikings because I covered the team for a long time.
I always get a kick out of this. I'm like, if you guys knew John off the air, I promise you would know he doesn't give a fuck. If the Vikings
Jeff Anderson is their PR guy. He's been there for years. He's an awesome dude. He gives me every single piece of information for that team to this day. If I need it, if I want it, that's what happens when you cover a team. You saw a bunch of people say today, Tanner McKee, his finger injury is non-surgical. We didn't all pull that out of our asses. Because I assume you saw other people say it. I'm not the only one who got that information.
All over it, yeah.
I don't understand why people don't understand.
What's their way of communicating? They send out a mass email to the beat reporters. This is what happened to Tanner McKee today.
Well, we get a lot of information on background is what it's called. And that's, they don't want it sourced, but they give it to us on background because they want people to have the proper information. And when it comes to injuries, they don't want people fucking panicking and jumping off buildings.
How much of it though is that? And this is just this is just me being a, the guy that wants to stir it up a little bit. But how much of it do you speculate is just them trying to control the narrative?
No, because they know they can't control the narrative if they lie to us about injuries. Number one. I've tried to impart it as much as possible with AJ. It's not a big deal, but people, they don't want to believe it.
Well, it's not that they don't want to believe it. It's just that there's a lot of different things you're hearing. And sometimes a lot of the things add up to the eye and you're like, well, I'm being told one thing, but I'm seeing another. Who am I supposed to believe? And I don't think.
Well, again, and you don't have to listen to me. I say, by all means, don't listen to me. But there are other guys, McLean, Berman, Zangaro, who are there every day. You got to pick one of them. Now, if you're getting the information from somewhere else, don't listen to them. That's what I would advise people. Just pick somebody who's there every single day. And there's a core group that's there every single day. And they're going to get the information. The other people are not getting the same information. So if you're getting, well, I'm worried about AJ. And it's not.
So what? You don't think the team would ever lie to you guys? I'm not trying to say I listen to you. I'm not one of the people that doesn't listen to you.
I have been covering that team on a daily basis. This is my 10th year. So it's been a decade. Nobody in that organization has ever lied to me. Do they spin stuff in a positive fashion? Of course.
Right, as everybody would.
I have never been lied to by anyone in that organization.
Fair enough. That's all I would need as well to trust them. Good stuff there. Let's keep rolling. Jason Gates checks in. What's up, Jason? Let's just trust in Vic and hope the DV situation works out in our favor and we can defend our title all year and win another one. Let's go Birds. Boy, John, a lot of Vic is good, man. Vic is not.
A lot of Pollyanna people.
I like that way to put it.
That's not my gig, the Pollyanna. Yeah, I mean, if you want,
don't participate in Pollyanna, John, you're out.
No, if you want, if you just want people to prop up your beliefs, this is probably not the show for you.
No, it's not.
But yeah, I'm not going to be a cheerleader.
I would say this is the opposite. You come in with a sledgehammer each day, John, and you slash beliefs.
Well, it's not even that. It's just that. I mean, first of all, it's very difficult to criticize the team because they're so damn good. Sometimes it pisses me off. But
yeah, I hear
you. They got a great owner. They got a great GM. They got a great head coach. They got a great quarterback. They got a historic running back. They got a great defensive coordinator. Sometimes it pisses me off, but they're not perfect.
They're not perfect, but they're pretty damn good, as you just pointed out. Good stuff. Jason, thank you for the super chat, brother. Here's Prince. What up, Prince? He says, during our worst year, we struggled due to a lack of coaching and a clear identity. We need to improve, but we also need to trust the process. What is up with trust tonight, John?
What is trust? What is worst year?
To trust tonight. Trust who? Trust what, Prince?
Yeah, and when are you starting their worst year? Are you going back to Mike McCormick in the 70s? What do you?
This team used 23. I guess he's talking about this era, Nick and Jalen's era.
Yeah, well, you're all spoiled from Nick and Jalen's era.
Yeah, we are.
I mean, they weren't even bad in the collapse year. They won double-digit games, which many teams in this league go years and years without winning double-digit games. Yeah, this era has spoiled people a little bit.
Prince, thank you for the super, brother. Appreciate it, man. Here's Tanner. Checks in. What's up, Tanner? Remember
Tanner McKee? How's the finger, buddy?
Huh?
Tanner McKee. How's the finger?
No, this is not to be Tanner. How do you say that, John? I'm not going to say because everybody's going to hold it against me. Tanner. Cremians?
Cremians? I'm going to go with Cremians. I don't know.
Cremians? That might be it. Tanner, what's up, brother? Appreciate you, man. He says, favorite part about J-Mac is that he doesn't give a fuck. Main reason I watch the show every day. John tells the truth, doesn't sugarcoat anything. There you go.
That is true. I do not care. So, yeah, yeah, that's a big thing with me. I try to tell the truth. It's what it's all about.
I agree.
My job. Yeah.
Jason again. I'm going to tell my wife she is fetching and see what happens next. Element.
That'll work, Jason. If she's got a nice vocabulary, that will work well. Trust me.
How bad is Jordan looking? Any word?
Jordan who? Jordan Davis?
Not Mailata, right?
Jordan Mailata? Well, he's got a concussion. I mean, I mean, he wasn't out there today because he's in the concussion protocol. I wouldn't.
When did that happen? I guess yesterday.
Had to happen in practice yesterday. Yeah. No, I wouldn't be worried about it. But I mean, other than concussions are no fun. But yeah, I mean, the players can talk about whatever they want, even if they're hurt, but they can't talk when they're in a concussion protocol. It's an NFL rule.
Yeah. Good stuff. Jason, thank you, brother. Appreciate the humor and the super chat. Appreciate everybody for checking in tonight. A long first segment, but a good one. We appreciate all of you guys for being here. 17 practices in the books. One left to go, John, of training camp here for the
one more. This will be the last practice I get to watch in full until next spring, if I make it till next spring. So this is it tomorrow. Last one.
Good stuff. Let's take our commercial break. Appreciate everybody for being here tonight. Stay tuned, everybody. Hit that like button. Drop your comments in the chat below. All super chats go to the top. We got about 35 minutes left to go here on a Tuesday nightcap edition of Birds 365. Stay tuned, everybody. We'll be right back.
The following is a presentation of JAKIB Sports.
If you're a small business owner or you work for a company that loves the birds, you need to react fast before we've used up our entire ticket allocation. And here's why. In celebration of JAKIB Media's new partnership with Savvy Seats, JAKIB Media will give you a pair of VIP tickets for any game on the 2025 schedule, home or away. And we'll give your company or your boss a 20-week media sponsorship package across the #1 digital network for Eagles coverage, JAKIB Sports. And that includes all of our game day coverage. Cost for your business or company? About $50 a week. Let's recap everything. 20-week sponsorship package on JAKIB Sports, including commercial spots, live reads, and liners. Inclusion in all of our game day coverage, including the soon-to-be-announced Green Zone, and a pair of tickets to the home opener or any game on the 2025 regular season schedule. Remember, that's home or away. If you're in Kansas City and you want to go to the game against the Chiefs, no problem. If you live in Florida and you want to go to the game in Tampa Bay at the end of September, no problem. Text Krause at 267-261-3428. That's 267-261-3428. And remember, do it quickly before this incredible gift is gone. JAKIB Sports and Savvy Seats put you right in the action with VIP seating as we are proud to announce our partnership for the 2025 season with Savvy Seats. Text Krause right now at 267-261-3428. That's 267-261-3428. And pick your game today. If you own a company and you're not producing a podcast, you're missing out. The public consumes messaging when they're ready. Join the professional podcast network of companies and let JAKIB Media Partners put you in the podcast arena. Come to our professional studio or we'll come to your place of business and professionally produce your company podcast. Call JAKIB Media right now at 267-261-3428. 267-261-3428.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Welcome back in, everybody, to a Tuesday nightcap edition of Birds 365. Moving into the final 30 minutes of the show tonight as we recap day number 17 of the Eagles training camp practice. Moving right along through training camp. Still a lot of questions on that defense. We'll see if Vic has more answers than he's letting us believe right now. But, John, with one practice remaining, what do you think is your biggest takeaway through this point from training camp? Kind of the story, if you could make it in one word or in one thought of training camp this year.
Been a training camp.
I asked John to put a word on training camp, and he goes,
Well, I think a lot of it is just the way they go about things. And, every day there's a key player not practicing
Right.
every day. There's mainly on offense, but and that's just how they do things. Again, I think people just have to accept it when they come, if they ever accept it. And once they do, and Lane is there, and Jordan is there, and Landon is there, hopefully, because his obviously injury is significant, somewhat significant to the point he needed trim his meniscus. But Cam and Jalen and AJ and Devontae and Saquon, they're all going to be there week 1, with the possible exception of because nobody's playing against the Jets. I hate to break it to you. If that's breaking it to you on Friday, nobody's playing.
We're going to see nobody.
So everybody's
Will we
playing
see
with
Darius Cooper and Metchi?
Yeah, I think you will.
All right.
Metchi, yeah, a little bit. They might not want to throw him out there so quickly, but I think they will. He was out of practice. I think they will. I think Cooper will play. Yeah. Some guys have to play, but the real key guys are all going to be there week 1, and then it's going to look a lot different because, again, Matt Pryor was playing left tackle today, and Brett Toth was playing left guard right there. Sort of like, all of a sudden, Jalen Carter turned into a predator on skates, running through the grass, looking like Myles Garrett.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm exaggerating a little bit, but I mean, Matt didn't look great at left tackle. Brett is not great at left guard, but they're competent backups. But you're trying to get through a training camp practice, and again, the goal is not to win practice, but I know nobody listens to that. They're just trying to get better, and each individual player is trying to get better.
Do you think they've gotten better?
Well, sure. I'm sure they've gotten better, but I don't think it has shown up as a team because you have so much upheaval and so many guys are sitting out. So you got a bunch of backups playing with the first team, and all the first team didn't look good. Well, the first team didn't have A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Landon Dickerson and Jordan Mailata.
Just to clarify, though, you have no concern that could impact them in the season, right? Because they have not gotten a lot of reps as a unit this camp.
Well, it might look good. That's the adage in the NFL. The first 2 games are like the preseason used to be. They might look shoddy in the first couple of games, and you hope they win them. They look pretty shitty against Green Bay and Brazil, but they managed to win the game.
Right.
That's what you're hoping for. Yeah, they'll probably look not great for the first couple of weeks, and you hope you can persevere and win those particular games, and then maybe you're off and cooking at that point. But yeah, it'll hurt them early in the season the way it always does. But
I don't think it's a big thing, but I do think it's something to watch. I would have liked to seen a little bit more of AJ. I know there's no concern there, but would have been nice to have a few more practices with A.J. Brown to get some.
I'll tell you what, when he was practicing, he looked effing great.
I don't think there's any doubt the guy's a great player for sure. No doubt about it, Johnny. Good stuff there. We got a couple more super chats we'll get to. We still have another topic I want to get to tonight as well. Bearded Willie checks in. J-Mac, how do you feel about Munden? I feel like he could be really good, ? I think he could be our third linebacker.
Well, he's not beating out Trotter to be the third linebacker. And that's if Trotter's not the second linebacker. So, no, he's not going to be the third linebacker. But, yeah, he's got a nice little upside. To me, he's more of a coverage player right now. If you saw the Cleveland game, he kind of got dragged around a little bit, at the goal line. Except the Cincinnati game or the Cleveland, they're already running together. Needs to get a little bit more physical. He's more of an athlete, I would say, than he's got to get a little bit bigger probably. But, yeah, I think he's going to be a good special teams player right away, and that's what he'll need to be as the fourth linebacker. But 3 are pretty much carved out. That's Zach Bond, Jihad, and Trotter. Just a matter of who's starting between Trotter and Jihad.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening with that. Bearded, thank you for the super chat, brother. I feel pretty good about Munden too. I like him. He's been better than I expected in camp. D Hughes checks in. What's up, D Hughes? This is a Johnny Mac super fan. He says, if J Mac, and it looks like it, if J Mac has 1 million fans, I'm one of them. If J Mac has 1 fan, I'm that one. If J Mac has no fans, then I am dead. Look at that, John.
Well, I got between 1 and 1 million. I'll say that. I have more than 1, but I don't think I have 1 million.
It's a good way to put it. It's a good way to put it. D Hughes classifies himself amongst that bunch. Appreciate you, D Hughes. Thank you very much for that. John, we talked about the defense all off season. We've talked about them all training camp. And here we are now, day 17, and we still don't freaking have answers at this defense. Where is your projection right now, just in your head? You don't have to give me an exact number, but what is this defense going to be this year, John? It's really hard for me to assume that they're going to be really close to what they were last year.
No, I don't think they're going to be close to what they were last year, but I still think they'll be pretty good because they're good players. Are really good. So, yeah, I think they'll certainly be top half in the league at worst case scenario. Probably, if I had to bet, I'd probably bet right around 10-ish, which is darn good, by the way.
Yeah, I think that would be a success.
But I think, if you look at Bond and Carter and Mitchell and DeJean, I mean, their good players are really good. And then you add in the Blankenships of the world and Nolan Smith and the second tier guys. But I mean, there's some big holes. The holes are pretty significant. And right now, if you're thinking about, Jacorian Bennett, I'm picking, if you want to pick a Dory Jackson, it's not going to be great. The other safety position, not going to be great. Linebacker's got some upside because of Campbell, but probably not as good as last year, if you're going to be honest. And the edge rushers, that to me is the biggest problem. Remains the biggest problem.
I'm reaching your point on the edge, John. I was thinking about this today.
Even by the way, we were talking in the media house. There's a bunch of us, and we were trying to figure out if anybody saw Ojulari on the field. I did see him on the field, but nobody noticed a damn thing he did. Because we all kind of, did you see this? Did you see that? Because again, there's no replays. We got one eyes. Nobody could remember if Ojulari was on the field. I think that speaks volumes.
It does. I was thinking about this though with John with the edge rushers. It's like I have high expectations for Jalix, probably higher than I should for a player coming in year 2 for a 3rd round developmental player. But
you look good today.
We need this guy to be not good, John. We need him to be great because 2-man isn't enough to manage the edge group. They need at least 3. And even the number 2 one, you could make an argument, hey, we are already projecting too much for this guy. What is an honest expectation of a player in year 2, and that was a developmental guy. I mean, even Jaylen Carter in year 2, you have to temper your expectations. It's only year 2. You got to develop. I feel like the edge rushers we need Jalix Hunt to really have a good year, really have a good year.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, they're counting on him to be a starting edge rusher in year 2 after you had 350 reps or whatever last year. It's a strange position that I didn't think the Eagles would have put themselves in, to be honest. I think everybody's pretty high on his upside, to say the least, because they did do that. They have done that until they still have some time, I guess, but it doesn't look like Trey Hendrickson's showing up tomorrow. They put a lot of eggs in the Jalix Hunt basket. That's one of the moves I disagree with. I would not have gone down that route. I think it's too much. It's too much too soon.
What do you think they should have done different? Sign Sweat?
No, it doesn't even have to be Sweat. I mean, because he made significant money, but there's a bunch of guys who are getting 7, 8. You saw Matt Judon sign yesterday. I don't know. He got like 7 million. I mean, I would trust him to rush the passer straight off the couch and on August 18th more than Jalen Hunt. I mean, obviously, now they're with the player every day and they believe in him and they have more access to him than I do. But, and they don't want to bring in Judon's like 33 or 30. They don't want to bring in an old guy.
Yeah.
But at some point, Brandon did pretty well for you as an old guy.
Does the team have as youthful of an energy around them as they are on paper? Like, I don't know another team that has this few veterans. Like Adoree Jackson's like the oldest guy on defense, and Zach Bond. They're 28 and 29.
Oboe is 30.
Oboe. There you go. Oboe, who's battling for an edge rusher spot.
Perry Nickerson's 30, but he's not going to make the team. I don't think Oboe is either, but yeah, I mean, well, I think they all like each other. You bring in all this Georgia guys and all the Alabama guys. They have these relationships dating back years. And they played that up a lot. So, I mean, I think everybody likes each other. I think the culture is a big part of their success. I do think that. So, I would have gotten a little bit more experience, but I don't like old players unless they're their own old players. Like they'll live with Lane and Brandon, guys who've been here forever. But they don't like bringing in old players anymore, it seems. And sometimes that worked. You think about Super Bowl 52, the Chris Longs of the world, LeGarrette Blunts, Patrick Robinsons, so they've had success in different ways, but they have doubled down on youth. And I think that'll change as they reboot. They were rebooting this year from a financial standpoint. So I think people think about it in 1 year and say, well, they're a Super Bowl contender. Why aren't they being Eagles-y and making splashes? Well, because the past decade, they were being Eagles-y and made a bunch of splashes.
Eventually, the chickens have to come home to roost. And
they made a decision that this was the year they had to reboot it because Carter's coming and Smith's coming and Mitchell's coming. And so they had to reboot it. They made a decision. So people forget that. That's why they did it. And the give and take to that is they got to play a bunch of young players who maybe aren't quite ready for it. Maybe they are. Throw them out there and see. I think Jalen Hunt played better than anybody expected when he was thrown out there last year. So maybe he can do it again. I would not feel comfortable with it, but maybe he can do it again.
Yeah, we'll see. We will see. Daz is not buying Vic. He says, my money's on Ringo starting week 1. Vic thinks he's slick, but I'm on to him.
All right. Well, I mean.
You have Ringo out of the running?
Yeah.
Done. Daz, you heard from Johnny Mack. He's done and dusted. Brian Pumper checks in. Apparently, Pumper had a good take. Let's see what it is. Vic hiding his hand. We have an influx of linebackers for a reason. I see Trot at the will, and Bond and Jihad will slide back and forth through Edge and Mike.
Well, that's the thought process long term with Jihad and Zach. And I think you'll see more blitzing in the red zone and when teams are backed up in certain high leverage stuff.
Maybe make this happen quicker than expected?
Maybe out of necessity, but I don't think Campbell's ready for that yet. Zach could probably do it, but Yeah, I don't think if Trotter's out there, I don't think I don't think he'll be playing the Will. I think he'll be playing the Mike to allow Zach to have more freedom. But when Campbell and Zach are out there, yeah, eventually I think it'll look more like a Zimmer defense, which is, you know, more the A gap stuff to start. But he'll overload. But to start, I think it'll be more the A gap stuff.
Yeah.
And sort of sugar the A gap, and then, you know, you don't know which one's coming. Maybe one comes, maybe both come, maybe both drop, that type of thing. I think that's where they start.
There's definitely big potential there. You just have to realize it. Dirty Air checks in. What's up, Dirty Air? Good to see you, brother. He says, J-Mac gave me the peasant treatment at camp last week. LOL, all jokes. J-Mac's a real one. Did you give my boy Gary
I don't know, but a lot of times I'm going, you know, God, there was that
Gary, you say the word. Did John give you peasant treatment?
That was there was the second practice with Cleveland. I mean, there's a lot, unfortunately, because, you know, bands are like 5 feet behind. Like there's a little section where they can't go that we go.
Right.
And like a bunch of people see in. And I feel like a dick, so I apologize, but you know, you got to watch practice. So it's like, you know, most people are there to socialize, but we can't do a lot of socializing. So a lot of people I say hello to real quick and I leave, so they probably think I'm a dick. But I mean, I have to watch.
He says he did stop walking, but he said hi. At least you said hi.
Yeah, I mean, I apologize, but yeah, I'm usually doing something or I'm usually going somewhere. So
I don't think he takes it personal. I think he was just messing. He's a big supporter of the show. Dirty Air, appreciate you, brother. Thank you very much for being here. John, as we continue to roll on, we just have 15 minutes left to go on the show tonight. Practice number 18 tomorrow. Who's set to speak tomorrow? It was Patullo today. We're going to close it out talking about
Nick Sirianni.
All right, so back to Sirianni. Haven't heard much from Michael Clay this offseason, but that's all right. Johnny Mac, what'd you make of Patullo? His comments today sounded like, John, the one thing I saw people talking about was, sounds like John Metchi is going to make the team. All right. I don't know what you took away, but your thoughts on what Patullo.
Yeah, I've already come to that conclusion.
Yeah.
And I still don't get the trade, to be honest. And maybe there's a second part of it that'll make it come into fruition a little bit more. But yeah, he's now I'm starting to think of like what's going on. How good is Houston? Because he looked pretty good. He looked pretty good out there. And Houston must have some wide receiver talent.
Well, Nick Casario has done a pretty good job in Houston.
Yeah, well, you know, they drafted the 2 kids. They're high on them. And Nico Collins is really good. And I forget the other receiver, the other starting receiver, but they are good, but they must be really good if they're trying to get rid of it. And they've been trying to get rid of this guy for a while. So it's one of those things where maybe he just needs a change of scenery. But yeah, it was not a good day for Anaya Smith or Darius Cooper, I would say, just from him showing up. But, you know, Johnny Wilson, you never want to get people to get hurt. But if that's significant, that might open a spot back up. So a lot of things can happen. And you know, Kevin was asked that question. That was the most interesting part to me was, you know, I spoke about that a little earlier in the show with CJ talking about when he got traded for and people not liking him. You know, Johnny and Ananias and Darius specifically, I've all been here since the spring, you know, getting better and playing well. And all of a sudden here comes John Metchi on August 19th. And, you know, so he's asked, what kind of message does that send to the young guys? And Kevin said, you know, Kevin's pretty honest and he gives you more than Kellen or Brian or Shane. And he said, it's part of the business, you know.
Keep working.
And he said, where those guys need to understand, you still have another week to prove yourself, got to continue to work, blah, blah, blah. From there, the decision is up to Howie and Nick and everybody upstairs. But I think ultimately the guys understand it's a competitive thing. And when you look at the back end roster guy, you're not only competing for our roster, but you're always competing for other rosters, which is true. So I think it's important that most guys start to understand that. And a lot of guys in year 2 and year 3 already know that. But that's what it is. I mean, you might be having a good camp amongst your group, but if Howie says we're not good enough and he finds a way to get better, those back end of the roster guys are always on, even throughout the season. That's why I call it the initial 53. There's constant movement on the back end of the roster. And the same thing happened with cornerbacks with Bennett. Same thing. It might happen again because he might bring in somebody else. But yeah, he's going to make the team, and that means somebody's out of luck.
Somebody's got to be getting traded. I don't know if it's going to be a wide receiver, but I feel like there's got to be another move coming.
Well, again, I do think, people overstate the value of back-end roster guys. They kind of fall in love with them. And that's the nature of this sport, is like those guys are interchangeable, man. It's kind of ugly if you think about it in a dark way. Yeah. They are interchangeable. And there's about 20 guys on this roster when we did our top 25. I think I fell off at 18. It was deeper last year. But there's about 15 to 18 guys that make the Philadelphia Eagles be the Philadelphia Eagles. That's it. That's it. And everybody else is no different than the Cleveland Browns.
Oh, shit.
And I'm not disrespecting. That's every team.
No, I know what you're saying.
And the Eagles go deeper than most teams with that top group. But that's as deep as you ever get as the Eagles were last year, which was about 20, 21.
Right.
Ended up, in hindsight, as that deep group. And that's about as deep as you'll ever go. And the rest of the guys, Patrick Johnson's a guy I love personally. I think what a solid player. Boy, he can rush the passer. He's one of your best special teams players. He can play off-ball linebacker in a pinch. What a versatile backup to have. They lost him. They love him. They brought him back. They didn't want to lose him. They lost him. They didn't miss a fucking beat. They didn't even, not even a hiccup on the EKG.
Not even a hiccup. Johnny Mac, it's true by you. It's true. Good insight there. John, great show tonight. All right, wrapping up day number 17. Day 18 will be tomorrow. Nick Sirianni will speak pre-practice. We'll have another nightcap edition of Birds 365. We'll be live in the morning as well. I'll have John join me by phone as we normally do through training camp here. And we'll wrap up officially training camp tomorrow. John, I'll let you get out of here another couple minutes early tonight. Your final thoughts after day 17 of training camp practice, John.
1 to go. It'll probably be lighter. They were fully padded. Went for about an hour 50 today, hour 45. Probably be lighter tomorrow. And we got to get through that exercise in futility that is the New York Jets preseason game.
Yeah, that's going to be brutal. That's going to be brutal, John.
Yeah, driving up to MetLife Stadium. Yes, that's one where you just want to come out of it healthy. Period. That's your only goal.
100%.
But for the young guys, I don't want to, for them it is, because they are fighting for.
Yeah, as you just explained, it's a hard sport, competitive sport.
Yeah. And they are fighting for jobs on other teams. And other teams will look at the Eagles because they're good.
Right.
And say, all right,
Yeah, in other words, nobody's watching the Jacksonville Jaguars, but they might be watching the Eagles.
Yeah, there's some cachet to being in this organization. And I expect them to lose a couple players on waivers. And for those guys, it's still big, but it's going to be another Kyle McCord, Dorian Thompson-Robinson game, and you already saw one of them, so it's probably not going to be the most aesthetic thing in the world.
No, it's not. It's not at all. Johnny Mac, great show tonight, brother. We'll catch you tomorrow in the morning for 15, 20 minutes, and then we'll talk to you tomorrow night on a nightcap edition of Birds 365. Thank you for doing it tonight, brother. We'll catch you tomorrow.
All right, thanks all.
All right, thanks, Johnny Mac. There's Johnny Mac joining us right here on a special nightcap edition of Birds 365. I do want to welcome and thank everybody for being here this evening. I'll go a couple more minutes. I smell dinner. Dinner is brewing in the house, everybody, which means I'm not sticking here long unless I get a whole lot of super chats. How about that? How about that? All right. I need a couple of pumper super chats to stick on here until 8. All right. What's up, Cody? Good to see you, my guy. Pump. What up, Pump? Keese is in here. What up, Keese? Keese, I like your comment earlier about Adoree Jackson. Yeah, go figures. He has a good day when half the receiving course hurt. Half the receiving course off the field. Oh, look, Adoree shows up. Yeah, I wonder why. WP says, J-Mac is not being disrespectful. It's the reality of how competitive staying on an active roster is. There's no doubt. WP, I appreciate it. All right. Caleb says, what's for dinner? Caleb, do I look like the kind of guy that takes care of what's for dinner? I eat the dinner, Caleb. I don't cook the dinner. But I was told we got all sorts of different types of protein. They made me lamb chops on the grill. How's that? How's that, Caleb? I think so. All right. I think that's what we got. Dirty Air says, sounds like we had some confidence building injuries. Dad says, I love to cook. Dad, I do not. All right. I do not. In fact, I would never cook another meal in my life and I'd be perfectly fine. And be perfectly fine with it. All right. So that's the story on my end, Caleb. Rosemary. Jack, I know you're a cook too, aren't you? I can tell. If you're going to Rosemary as your first question about whether it's on the lamb chops, well, Keith, I would have done it tonight, but I'm on the show. I'm talking to you knuckleheads. There's my boy Habib. What's up, Habib? Zander Mander. What does that mean? Prince, I gotta challenge you on some shit, man. He says Prince Swayze has been has often been right rather than wrong. Just saying. Prince, you've been pretty good, but my only problem with Prince, it's one thing to have a take and be right. I'm good with that. And I think you have been pretty right, which is a good credit for you. But this is what I would say. The team doesn't win that much. Team's got 2 Super Bowls and 59 of them. Even if you just factor in the Jalen Hurts, Nick Sirianni era, the team has won 1 Super Bowl in 4 years. So if your girlfriend gave you 4 sentences, Prince, or 4 different conversations, and she lied to you in 3 of them, would you then proceed to give her the benefit of the doubt? I'm just saying it's not crazy to have some questions on a football team. Most football teams won't win every year. Every football team won't win every year. It's just how it works. I don't think it's crazy to say, hey, we got a couple questions here. Hey, let's see what happens here. Hey, this could be a problem this year. What an analogy, Keith. Oh, I'm trying to think of something. It's like, what I don't get what quantifies trust the process. Trust. I mean, what do you mean? What do you mean trust the process? I don't really get that. Abe says, I would lie back. There you go, Abe. Abe's got that cold heart. How could you be so heartless? How could you be so heartless? Abe, I loved that song when I was younger. Sounds like you liked it too, Abe. All right. Crowley says, I trusted the process and it was all a lie. Trusting the process is trolling in Philly. Well, I'm not trying to push back on Prince. I appreciate that he's more optimistic. I'm actually, Prince, the funny part is I'm pretty damn optimistic. I'm pretty damn optimistic on the team. Most people who listen to me, my biggest gripe is that I'm too optimistic. Xander's not objective. Jalen Hurts blows. All right. Okay, everybody. And then Prince comes in. He's like, baby sills. Like, all right, Prince. Heartless. Was that what it was called? Heartless? Yeah, it was, right? Could you be so? Yeah, that was it. That's a banger. That whole album was a banger. All right. What was wrong in 23, Prince? Coaching, defense. Probably those two. Pick your poison when everyone was worst. Habib says 2 Eagles Super Bowl wins before Sixers making it past the second round. That's true. All right. That's true. Keith says, here we go. Caleb says, did you go to every Bama game when you were down there? I went to most of them, Caleb. But honestly, dude, you have a night game, Caleb. Let me tell you this: you get on the campus like 8, 9 a.m. Dude, night game rolls around. You're like, bro, I'm fucking done. I'm done. I'm not going to a game, a head banging music, then a bar after. It's like, bro, if I'm out here at 8 a.m., you'll be lucky if I make it to the game. All right. But no, I went to a lot of them. It was a banging stadium for sure. It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. All right, everybody. I appreciate all of you guys. I smell lamb chops. Let me get out of here. Appreciate each and every one of you. Hit the like button. Thank you for all the super chats tonight. Prince, think about what I said, Prince. I'm not saying don't be optimistic, Prince. But I can't go in with blind faith, Prince. It's not how I'm built. Blind faith is not how I'm built. All right. I love you, brother. And I appreciate all of you guys. All right. Tony, thank you, man. Mad Bird, Cody K, Abe, Spike-O, Caleb. I appreciate all of you guys. See you next time, everybody.
You've been listening to Birds 365, the destination for the passionate Eagles football fan who bleeds green. If it's Eagles football, we're talking about it. Debate inside the locker room and guests that are some of the greatest football minds from around the region. We hope you enjoyed the show. We know we had a blast. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hook up with us on social media at JAKIB Sports. See you next time on Birds 365.